Intel has received a $2 billion investment from SoftBank, which will make the Japanese firm the sixth largest shareholder in the company. For more on this story, we're joined by Brad Garsworth from Unearthing Opportunities. Good to see you. What does SoftBank's $2 billion stake tell us about Intel's long-term AI and semiconductor ambitions?
Yeah, Mike, I mean, that's the question on everybody's mind. I mean, first and foremost, Intel has really executed for a number of years. So putting a $2 billion investment certainly gives some faith that this company can recover. That being said, SoftBank has significant stakes in many of the large semiconductor companies already on the AI side. So they have one in NVIDIA, TSM, ARM. So they're already quit. This just diversifies their AI investment. I mean, it's a very large number, but don't forget, SoftBank typically makes these large investments. I think this is a diversification in case Intel does get its act together. However, I still believe Intel's between a hard and a rock place.
Yeah, certainly. Yeah, Intel shares jumped in after hours trading, however. How sustainable is that optimism?
Yeah, I mean, that's you're quite right. I mean, when you see SoftBank come in, that's going to give an initial uptick in the stock. Also, don't forget, there's some rumors now that the U.S. government might be taking a 10% stake into Intel. I mean, the stock has clearly been beaten up. It's been sort of left for dead, of lack of better words. And I think, SoftBank probably sees the risk reward quite favorable at these levels. I think the U.S. government is thinking the same thing. But that being said, to your question, I think we'll get another initial pop if the U.S. government comes in, but then there's all kinds of cross currents that we have to deal with if that actually does come through.
Yeah. Okay. Why does SoftBank see U.S. chip making and specifically Intel as a strategic bet right now? What are they doing right in order to cause that interest?
Yeah, I mean, it's a good question. They're really not doing much right right now. So, to me, it's a little bit surprising, but not really, because again, it's a diversification play. I mean, Intel has been left for dead. The valuation is far lower than it's been for quite some time. They've really misexecuted on product after product for a number of years. Now we have a new CEO at the helms after the last CEO was the one that was supposed to save the company.
Yes, I recall.
So now we have a new CEO who should now save the company. I don't think there's anything that exciting right now. I think it's more of a value investment than anything else. And if they do get their act together, then the stock will have a nice return.
Yeah.
But I think this near-term bounce isn't that sustainable.
I'm wondering how this investment fits into SoftBank's broader semiconductor and AI portfolio alongside what you mentioned earlier with ARM, NVIDIA, and TSMC as well. It's just like, where does that sit within all of this outside of diversification, which is the obvious answer?
Yeah, I think it is the obvious answer, Mike. And I think when you look at that investment, I think it's just, this is one of the best value play in semis for a good reason. I mean, again, they have not executed in quite some time. They're behind. They've been selling assets. Clearly there's belief that the company can come back, but they've lost some significant senior engineers over the last decade that have gone to the likes of Broadcom, to AMD, to other semiconductor companies, and they sort of lost their rhythm. I mean, it'd be great for Intel to come back. I think it's a very tough comeback story if it does, but I guess we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah. Now, with Intel facing losses, how critical is this infusion of capital for its competitiveness? Again, they've had a rough kind of period of time, but I'm wondering if this is actually going to be a nice tidal wave of interest and engagement for them.
Yeah, I mean, it certainly doesn't hurt to have SoftBank come in and invest. I mean, this is, SoftBank has a very strong reputation. They've made some very good investments over the years. So this is a positive. That's why we saw that initial 5 to 6% uptick in the stock after the investment was announced. So I think, I think, again, I see it hard for Intel coming back completely. But that being said, I mean, SoftBank's made good investments. So I think if you look at the investment portfolio that they have and what they've done, I mean, Intel has been beaten up. The valuation is quite low. I mean, the risk reward is there. So it makes sense from that perspective. But ultimately, to me, this is just a value play.
Yeah, it's interesting. Down but not out just yet. But Brad, as always, it's good to speak to you and look forward to chatting again next week.
Perfect. Thanks, Mike. Take care.